When you watch Outer Banks, it's almost as if the characters are stuck in situations they have no control over. And the worst thing is that this cast is always repeating the same cycle of hunting for gold, deceased dads coming back to life, car chases and gunshots, which are all interesting but need a shake-up that Outer Banks 4 is about to bring. Firstly, the search for treasure will look very different in Season 4 because the characters no longer have the hunger to enrich their pockets. After all, El Dorado already gave them that. So this time around, while searching for Blackbeard's treasures, they will be more analytical and relaxed and even have the necessary tools to go after the treasure they've been tasked to find. And that's because they're now loaded and not in a hurry to get things done. Outer Banks 4 will move slower than you've always known, giving time for more rich storylines to shine, as fans are already used to drama and abductions. Even though the Pogues won't be in a dangerous hurry but a more logical one to reach the treasures, some things will change the entire narrative of the show. When the Pogues were after Denmark Tanny's treasures, Pope discovered he was related to the legend and took the treasure hunt more seriously. However, the same could happen in Season 4, but with a different approach. Now that Blackbeard has been introduced as the next person to look into, he might be related to one of the characters. And the character that best fits this is JJ. Life hasn't always been fair for JJ, as he had terrible issues with his father, who he thinks he would never see again. Also, the fact that JJ now has money doesn't mean all of his problems are over. He still has friends who make up a family, but the pain of knowing he has a father somewhere who might never return will continue to hurt him the most. However, digging into Blackbeard could offer some closure for JJ, as he might realise that he's not alone and has a heritage and foundation different from what his father offered him. And after discovering this, JJ's father could return to claim the treasures and complicate the family history further. But really, JJ needs a redeeming point in Outer Banks 4, and the way that will be achieved will blow your mind. No matter how many good things happen to the Pogues, bad things always seem to follow behind. In Season 3, they thought they had already found peace after discovering Pogelandia, but that only lasted a short while before they returned to their usual chaotic world. So even now that they are rich, they will still be disturbed in many ways in Season 4, and this particular trouble will be caused by Rafe, as it's obvious that he's not done with the Pogues yet, no matter how much their status has changed. Ward Cameron was the villain that kept the Pogues on their feet throughout Seasons 1 to 3 before he passed, and Rafe has now taken over the family business. Also, Rafe got his dad on the plane to ensure that he got into a safe space and was far from law enforcement. But Ward didn't later make it, and Rafe's reactions aren't going to be gentle at all. He will blame the Pogues and especially Sarah for the misfortune, because if not for the hunt for El Dorado, Ward would still be fine. Also, knowing how much Ward loves Sarah, Rafe would go crazy to discover that Ward passed away just to save Sarah's life. So throughout the time jump at the end of Season 3, Rafe would have been looking for ways to avenge Ward, which Outer Banks 4 will reveal. However, Rafe probably didn't get the chance to avenge because all the Pogues look fine. And also, it could be because Rafe didn't get the chance to go after all of them all this time. But with Blackbeard in view, Rafe would finally go after the Pogues to try and take away whatever treasures they find. Aside from all of these, Rafe would become even more dangerous and a crazy villain who would make life hard for the Pogues. Barry is also one of the characters that's managed to stay in the background but still heavily influences the show and Rafe. So it's safe to say most of the decisions Rafe makes depends on Barry too. And since Ward is no more, Barry will get more powerful in Outer Banks 4, which could get you unawares. And this is going to affect the Pogues on their Blackbeard treasure hunt. Some of the major plot twists of Outer Banks are Big John's return after many believed that he had passed, and Ward Cameron who faked his passing. Although there might be no dads returning from beyond again next season, another interesting twist that will be mind-blowing could set in. So, now the mums might start showing up and become a big part of the narrative after the dads are no more. The interesting thing about this is that viewers don't know for sure what happened with John B's, JJ's and Sarah's mum, even though there were some narratives to explain why they aren't in the show. But according to Outer Banks, it's obvious that no narrative should be believed, even if you do see it happen with your own eyes. So the mysteries about what happened to John B, JJ and Sarah's mum might be revealed in Season 4, and they could also show up to help search for Blackbeard's treasures. There are theories that Carla Limbry, who was so particular about the healing shroud, is John B's mother, especially with how she seems so close to Big John, which is possible. And the interesting thing is that there could be a war amongst the mums about what led to their disappearance, as the dads had. Fans have begun to ship JJ and Kiara even more seriously after their encounter in Season 3. And in the final scene where the Pogues are celebrated for finding El Dorado, there's not much to see regarding how their relationship has been. But many things must have happened in the 18 months that the show jumped, as some things things indicate that JJ and Kiara's relationship didn't bloom as expected. In the final moments of Outer Banks 3, Kiara's parents look too happy for their daughter. And for people who are already rich like that, they're mostly not just about the gold, but how proud they are of their daughter. And that's one thing Kiara's parents cherish the most, which is for Kiara to get help and become a well-behaved teenager. In those 18 months, Kiara might have focused on redeeming her relationship with her parents, since they probably gave her a second chance after finding El Dorado. And this must have surely affected her relationship with JJ, because her parents don't want him around her, and no amount of status change could change their minds. If you noticed, John B and Sarah appear to be cool with each other after finding El Dorado, and the same can be said of Cleo and Pope, but Kiara and JJ didn't look like it. But since viewers know they love each other, Season 4 could have them trying again while going on an adventure to find Blackbeard's treasure. John B and Sarah might still be dating in Outer Banks 4, but something terrible could go wrong in this relationship that will affect Topper. Sarah and Topper are familiar with a hide-and-seek relationship, where they use each other to get what they want. And according to the last season, Topper didn't get what he wanted. And he's still very mad at Sarah, so he might never stop engaging in fistfights with John B over Sarah. Although none of the younger characters of this show has passed, despite how often they get into dangerous situations, Topper might not be safe this time, as the Pogues could end up hurting him, probably in self-defense. In their usual life-threatening fights, John B and Topper could face each other again in Season 4, and Sarah, or any of the Pogues members, might shoot Topper to scare him off, and the worst nightmare could begin from there. With El Dorado, many seem to have forgotten the gold that caused all these troubles for the Pogues, and also got them started on the mysterious journey of finding the rest of Tanny's treasures. However, you might think that they wouldn't need this gold anymore, now that they've found the real site of gold. But to make things fun in Outer Banks 4, the Pogues might have to return to the beginning. But since the Camerons have it in their possession with Rafe in charge, it wouldn't be easy to get to the gold. Even though the Pogues wouldn't need it, there could be a connection that their new adventure has with the first one. Also, the hunt for Blackbeard's treasures might look like a new beginning for the cast of Outer Banks, but the show could find a way to link Blackbeard, also known as Edward Teach, with Denmark Tanny. Even though Blackbeard has already passed before Tanny was born, Tanny had probably heard about Blackbeard since he was a famous pirate during his days. And of course, Danny could have searched and come across some clues. Although he might not find the treasures, he could have seen things and left guides that could help the Pogues search for the Blackbeard treasures. Many fans are eager to know how many more seasons are left in Outer Banks, or if Season 4 would be the last. And the co-creators of the show have assured fans that much more action would be in Season 4, and more seasons will follow in the future. So, what do you think of these crazy things Outer Banks 4 could pull off? As always, share your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.